forming 2 by 2. They need to sort out immediately as we go back to green flag action in the home stretch of the Carquest Auto Parts Stores 300.
And once again, you see car number 31, Steve Grissom, on the outside of Jeff Burton, the 99 car, the leader, trying to get that lap back. He can't do it. It's just too slick in that outside group.
And we've run an entire lap without caution. Congratulations to all the drivers in the field. And there's Grissom making his move down underneath, trying to get one of those laps back.
Caution's out.
Caution once again, number 17, as Troy Beebe spun over in turn 2. The question is, did Steve Grissom beat him back to the line?
Did not do it by inches. If that yellow flag had come out just a little bit later, Grissom had Jeff Burton worked up the racetrack, and in one more lap would have gotten that lap back.
Well, that could be a big factor in this race because we're getting down to the waning moments of it now, and Grissom definitely needed to get that lap back. We're getting a signal now from the flagman for 1 to go, so he's going to get another chance at it real soon.
He's had to play musical flags all afternoon. He's had the green, yellow, and black in his hand. In fact, he's had the black in his hand a number of times, calling cars to pit road for oil leaks, for sheet metal rubs, for smoke, for various and sundry problems, and there have been more than the share of those in this event this afternoon. Half a lap back to green flag. Jeff Burton driving car number 99, a number that was occupied last year by Tommy Ellis. He is not here today. He parted company with the Lewis Cooper racing operation after Darlington, and that car is doing quite nicely now as Ellis is a spectator in this afternoon's race, the all-time race winner here at the Speedway, watching a number that he was so successful with as he's got his hands full. Jeff Burton with Steve Grissom, who has no quit in him.
Grissom finally got the jump on him there. You'll see him motor on by. Grissom's car is a little bit stronger. You'll see him pull away from Jeff Burton now.
Burton almost got worked up the racetrack long enough for Ed Barrier to try to grab the top spot away. What a run for Barrier this afternoon. And that Kate's Pickle car. Barrier out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, one of the better young drivers on this circuit, still also looking for his very first victory.
No question about it. You know, Mark, with the reports we have right now show that the 99 car and the 33 car have not made pit stops for tires yet. That's going to be interesting to see if they can stay out front.
And the question really becomes, with the number of cautions that we have seen, do they necessarily have to come into the pits? Because they're not really wearing the tires. Yes, they are, of course, wearing the tires, but they're not putting long stretches of green flag racing on them.
That's what they're gambling on right now, Mark, is that the extreme number of caution laps that we have run is going to enable them to go the distance on the set of tires that they started the race on.
Mark Allen, Mark Garrow, Glenn Jarrett, and Bill Hennessy, happy that you have joined us for this afternoon's live telecast of Busch Brand National Racing on TNN. Ed Barrier having by far and away his best run of the season, but he's going to be getting some pressure shortly from the lap car of Dave Resendiz, who, a strong car, another strong car who had problems early and has spent the whole race trying to work his way back in front and unlap himself.
It's going to be awfully tough to make a move on Barrier unless he bumps him, because Ed's car is working extremely well way down low on the racetrack. Watch when he goes into turn how low he is. It's hard for a guy to make a move on him when he's right down on the dirt like that.
Barrier started the season in the Sam Ard car. There was a number 5 machine, but they parted company, and the sponsorship on the hood of the car actually changed a little bit too. As we see some debris on the racetrack up there in turn 4, that is out of the groove, so that should not affect the competition. But that's unusual to see a car change number, but essentially keep all the same personnel, as now he's moved. Ed Barrier has moved into car number 33. He was in 5 for the first portion of the season.
And he's doing a very good job. I believe that's a car that he and his dad own. Now we've got, you see Jeff Burton, the leader, is starting to move away from Ed Barrier. He's putting some distance on the rest of the field. He wants to see this green flag run continue.
And we've got a stopwatch between the distance between first and second, and it's 1.5 seconds, so we'll be watching that as the race starts to wind down now, as Jack Ingram is trying to work his way back forward. He's right on the rear deck lid of the 08 machine. That's Bobby Doddard, who is having an excellent run this afternoon, and Chuck Bound, who we still have on the lead lap, although he's got about 3/4 of a race car left.
Jack Ingram just worked by Chuck Bound, and he said, well, Chuck, I was sorry about that, so let me move Bobby Doddard up. I'm going to get one more spot, and come on, buddy, you can come with me.
Jack Ingram's car is working very well right now. In fact, he's one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. He's having no problem moving right up through the field as he pulls up onto the rear deck of Tommy Houston in the car number 6. Houston a couple laps down, but Ingram is definitely on the move.
Bound has been one of the fastest cars all afternoon. He got by Bound and just left him. No doubt about it, if this field gets tightened up again under yellow, Jack Ingram Ingram will get to move even closer to leader Jeff Burton in track position, and he may have something to say about winning this race. Again, he hasn't won since 1987 in Rougemont, North Carolina. Jack Ingram, a very prideful man, will certainly like to leave his farewell tour with a victory.
And here's our top 5 unofficially as we have it, as we're in the waning laps of this event, about 45 laps to go unofficially. The leader, of course, Jeff Burton, second place at barrier, as we've been documenting here. Chuck Bound, third. Bobby Dotter is fourth, and we still have Joe Nemechek in that fifth position. A great run for that Lakeland, Florida driver, second year in the Busch Grand National Series. And look at Ingram dive underneath Houston. There are 2 guys that have put more laps in Grand National competition probably than the entire rest of the field combined.
That's a good point, Mark. And evidently, Jack Ingram has lost a lap in that altercation up in turn 4 with Chuck Bound a while ago, because he's being shown in the rundown behind Bound, but he's in front of him on the racetrack.
And Houston, major fishtailing there coming off turn 4. Nice job to save that car.
Jack Ingram flying up through the pack. It looks like Chuck Bound's getting a free ride every time Jack moves cars up the racetrack. That allows Bound to get by as well. Bound certainly not as quick as leader Jeff Burton, but he's not having to work those cars as hard as he might with Jack Ingram showing him the way.
That's a good point, Mark. Jack opens the door, and Mark walks, and Chuck walks right through it behind him. Chuck has a lot of sheet metal flapping in the breeze on his car right now, and it's going to be interesting to see if NASCAR's taking a hard look at it to see if they might want to put a black flag on him. I don't think that they will, but there's a lot of sheet metal flapping there.
And Glenn Jarrett, you're right. His car really doesn't show much damage, the Jack Ingram machine, even though he was pretty heavy contact in that earlier incident.
I think he got the car slid to a stop, and we could see it bump just a little bit. It didn't. It dented the right front fender, but compared to the rest of the field, his car looks brand new.
Right now, spoken like a used car salesman, which he is.
Trouble.
And up in turn 4, Ed Ferree is in the wall for the second time in that spot in this event. Caution number 17, only 1 away from the record on lap number 243.
I think we've got a shot at it. One thing before that caution flag.
And trouble on the front stretch, in major trouble on the front stretch between Chuck Bound and Dave Rezendes.
Mark, I was looking right at that and couldn't believe what I saw. They were both slowed down. They had taken the caution flag. They came together, and it spun both cars. Again, it's attributed to just how slick this racing surface is.
And I hope there is nothing secret on the right front portion of Chuck Bound's car, because all the sheet metal is gone. It has exposed all the suspension parts on that Pontiac.
When he went by, we saw some smoke. Yeah. That sheet metal. You see Bound and Rezendes getting together. Rezendes was in front of Bound. And Rezendes comes to stop on the inside retaining wall, Bound to the outside. A little pirouette, a little ballet here on the front stretch.
And Chuck Bound is on pit road now. Obviously, after that incident, that was significant enough contact where he's got to come to the service of Jeff Hensley-led crew.
You have to kind of speculate, Mark, that after they had taken the caution, if maybe Rezendes didn't slow down a little quicker than what Bound thought he would, and Chuck bumped him in the back. It looks like we've got some problems there. It looks like water coming out of that thing.
Hubert Hensley, the car owner, threw some water in there to try to cool that race car down. And NASCAR officials are going to hold Bound there on pit road. He's going to lose a lap.
There is a mark on the outside wall where the pace car is, and you might explain how that works, Glenn Jarrett, because that helps the NASCAR officials on pit road to keep an unsafe condition from occurring.
Well, that unsafe condition being that if a car like Chuck Bound trying to rush out of the pits and the field is coming down under caution to take to take their position on the track, and you got a guy come flying out of the pit, so they use that mark. Once the caution car passes that mark, they hold all cars in the pits until the field passes by.
And Dave Rezendes' crew are having to work on that Oldsmobile. There aren't going to be very many cars left in this racetrack that I'll tell you, I'd like to have the scrap metal concession on this event when it's over.
They may be giving Chuck Bound a penalty. They're still holding him on pit road.
And in the replay, that's what precipitated the original caution. That's Ed Ferree, the rookie out of Pennsylvania, sliding out of the groove. And as we've seen so many times, you get a half a lane out of the groove and you're gone.
He started from the bottom of the racetrack. He got up he got the right side tires out of the groove, and the car went straight to the wall like he wasn't even steering it. Believe me, folks, he was trying to turn it left.